Welcome to how to play Sacred Cipher. First, the setup. Take these building tokens. They have their names on the back. You'll want to put them in their corresponding spot on the outside of the circle. The number of buildings corresponds generally with the number of players, so consult the instructions for that. Give every player a village and a reference card. Give every player 2 action tokens. Give every player 2 wooden holders. Place the round token here on round number 1. Take the special resource tokens. There's 5 of these. Give one to every player. Any left over, put in the center right here of the game board. Place your cipher tokens, these square ones with no names on the back, in a pile off to the side. Place your resources off to the side, and you're ready to play. Every player has to set their cipher. Every player starts off as the guardian of a special resource. These gems are the special resources. These cubes are the common resources. Determine the starting player by randomly selecting a color. Green player will go first. Every player has 2 action tokens the whole game. Every round they can take 2 actions. And every round consists of 2 actions and 1 cipher guess. The action tokens are here, and the special resources. Those are the actions you can take. The colored circles here are common resources. You also have the builder, an extra guess, and the abyss. We'll get to all that in 1 second. Green player is going to go first. Green player is going to select blue, Woontunabu. Before I gather my resource, I look on my reference card. If I'm the first one there, that yields me 3 common resources, which I put on my village, and I can store in one of 3 barn spaces. You can only store 1 resource type per barn space. Do a yellow special here or purple common there. You cannot mix resource types among your barn. And you cannot get rid of any resources in your barn unless you choose the abyss as your action. And then you can clear out 1 barn space. When you choose the abyss, you cannot partially clear your barn. Like, you can't get rid of just 2. You have to clear the entire barn space. If I was the second one to go on this common space, that would yield me just 1 common resource. So green took their turn. 3 Woontunabu. Red, I'm gonna go squoosh. 3 squoosh. All right, I'm gonna store here on my barn. Now it's purple. Purple, I'm also gonna go on Woontunabu. Every common resource space can support up to 2 players on it. The builder can only support 1, but there is a special building that you can build later on that changes that rule. The abyss and the extra guess can also just support 1, but there are other special buildings that modify those rules as well. I'm gonna go on Woontunabu, and if you look here on your reference card, I'm the second one there, so that just gives me 1 common resource. So I'm gonna grab my 1 blue, stick it in one of my barn spaces, and that's purple's turn. Now it's green's turn again. Now, I'm gonna go walking thornage. This is a special resource, the blue special resource. I'm the first one there. That yields me 2 special resources. So that gives me 2 special resources, which I put here. You cannot mix the same color of common and special resource types in your barn. They have to be separate. Red's turn. They really want to be the starting player, so they are going to choose the Dawn Greeter. That's an action space here, hidden at the top. Choose the Dawn Greeter. Now red is the starting player for the next round. Purple is going to, they want to get some gem. That's a common resource. Since it's my first time going there, I'm the first player there, I get 3, which I'm going to store there. Once you're done with your actions, it's time to guess someone else's cipher. And you get 1 cipher guess per round, unless you took the extra guess, in which case you get 2. When guessing someone's cipher, this is my cipher, it's guarding my Loup de Door. If the green player was guessing my cipher, he secretly gives it to me. He says, "This is my guess." the guesses on the bottom here. And me, as the player, I have to tell the player guessing 2 pieces of information. 1, how many tokens he got correct, and number 2, which, if any, is in the right spot. For this particular guess, I would say you got 1 correct and the second one is in the right spot. When a player guesses a cipher correctly, that player immediately receives a bonus from the bank of 2 special resources of that color. Now, they have to have room in their barns in order to receive that. Otherwise, it goes back to the bank. And from then on, they can use this as an action space to gather that special resource. When making your cipher guesses, you don't necessarily have to guess the same one in order. For example, if on one round the green player guessed my cipher, the next round he can guess the red player's cipher or anyone else's cipher. And you don't necessarily have to solve any of the ciphers to win the game. They just help you on your path to victory. First person to fill up their entire village triggers the end of the game. And from that person's turn, everyone gets 1 more turn except the person who triggered the end of the game. Whoever has the most victory points wins. Victory points are totaled first from static victory points, these points here in this column that are given by just building these buildings, and any special victory points here described in the abilities. And they can be all kinds of different abilities, and some are exponential and some are linear, some are static. Total up the victory points and whoever has the most wins. Once the game is over, to keep score, you flip the board around and use this wheel to keep track of your points. Use your action tokens, count out your points starting here at 1 and counting it out. The builder ordinarily can only support 1 person at a time. If you build the enclave in your village, you can have this action open to you all the time. So the question is, if somebody uses this as their regular action, the enclave allows you to go a second time, although you can only build 1 building, up to 1 building instead of up to 2. That's the only restriction on the enclave. The question is, can a 3rd or even a 4th or 5th player use the builder if they have the enclave? The answer is yes. As many people have the enclave can use the builder. The builder action is always open, although if you use the enclave special ability, you can only build up to 1 building. When you're gathering resources, if the bank does not have any of that resource left, you cannot gather that resource. Now there is a special building that allows you to build outside of town. It's the long hall. If I build the long hall, that allows me to build one other building of my choice outside of my village. You can place it anywhere. Doing this has no effect on triggering the end of the game or not. The following buildings can only be built once per village: the animal breeder, the herbalist, an altar, and the workshop. I hope you've enjoyed this walkthrough on how to play Sacred Cipher. This is one of my first games I designed, and it's been my dream to not only see it published, but to see people play it. So I hope you enjoy.